What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 15, Episode 10, Healing by Sheree. So at the beginning of the episode, they show us like a montage of scenes of the women doing whatever they're doing. And we see a montage of, one of the montages that we see is Kenya with Brooklyn when Kenya's father comes over. And then Brooklyn gives her granddad this really big hug. Brooklyn is the happiest child that I've ever seen because every time this little girl is on camera, she is smiling, she is happy, she is affable, she's getting along with everybody. She's just the most adorable little girl ever. So moving on from there. The episode actually begins at Drew's house because Ralph wants to host a brunch for the ladies before they leave on their trip to Portugal. So all the ladies everybody shows up. The ladies with their husbands, boyfriends, whatever, everybody shows up, and the men are going to be, doing all the cooking while the women are going to be sitting back and relaxing. So Candy had just realized at that moment that Courtney's ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, I don't know, is Bryce. And Candy knows Bryce because I guess she's worked with him before, but she never knew that Courtney and Bryce were ever an item. And in her confessional, Candy says that Bryce is such a nice guy. How does he put up with her? I was like, Candy. Anyways, so Kenya and Sheree, they both show up without their fake boyfriends because nothing's going to make me believe that either one of them is in a real relationship with Martell and the other guy. I forgot Kenya's fake boyfriend. I forgot what his name is. Sheree have the audacity to throw shade at Kenya for showing up alone when Sheree herself showed up alone. Like, I didn't understand how that went. Like, I didn't get it. Sheree, you don't have your fake boyfriend either, so why are you throwing shade at her? But anywho, even Marlo came in with her boyfriend or whatever he is, Scott Lee. Every time Scott Lee says his name, he says the very Jamaican name. He said it like 5 times in this episode. So anyway, Candy announces that Drew is going to be cast in her movie. And I wonder if Kenya felt some kind of way because Kenya thinks that she's the actress of the group, but she hasn't done a movie in quite a while. And Drew's the one that keeps working. And I went to go look at her IMDb. I didn't recognize anything that this woman has ever done. I guess she just has like a lot of bit roles here and there. She's not an extra by far, but she does have, she does play main characters, but this is stuff that I've never heard of. But anyway, I guess all those characters that she's played has enabled her to afford a house like that because that is a really nice house. So moving on from there, Kenya FaceTimes her man, her man FaceTimes her. And at this point, whenever they mentioned his name, which I forgot what his name is, whenever they mentioned his name, Marlo remembered that she had gone out on a date with this guy. So everybody's ragging on Kenya for having Marlo's sloppy seconds and et cetera, et cetera. And people are questioning how come Kenya did not think it was a big deal that her man was in Marlo's DM, but she wanted Sheree to make it a big deal for Martell being in her DMs. I don't really care about Marlo and Kenya and Sheree and Martell and this guy that Kenya is supposedly dating because these relationships are fake. Martell is a fake boyfriend. Kenya's man is a fake boyfriend. It's not real. I don't believe it. So I'm not going to waste too much time talking about it and trying to figure out, why is Kenya being hypocritical with this whole thing about, her dude being in Marlo's DMs. I really don't care because it's all fake. So Sheree asked Drew if she was going to pay her chef. So this is towards the end of the brunch. And Sheree loud whispers to Drew across the table, "Are you going to pay your chef?" And so Drew was like, "What do you mean?" And Sheree says, "Well, because the blogs are saying that you didn't pay your chef, and your chef is now suing you." So of course Drew felt some kind of way about that, and she was like, "It's no big deal. It's being handled. My lawyers are handling all of that." So moving on from there, Kenya and Courtney were having some type of an exchange. I think their conversation at the table was about I think they were talking about whether Sheree and Drew had actually squashed their beef. And I think Kenya said, of course they didn't. And then Courtney was like, "Oh, and you would know." And when she said that, she touched Kenya. And Kenya got real serious. And she was like, "Keep your hands off me. You don't know me like that. We're not friends like that. Don't touch me." So that was really funny. So the men are all outside and they're admiring Ralph and Drew's house. This is a really nice house. I just wish I knew exactly what Ralph did for a living. But anyways, moving on from there. Everybody now is on their way to Portugal. Candy barely made it because she got severe food poisoning, but she was able to get on the plane. And while I think after they had arrived in Portugal, they were FaceTiming their husbands and stuff. And Drew told the group that Ralph was actually in Las Vegas because he was going to be auditioning for Chocolate City, which is like the black version of Magic Mike. And I was like, the man who has an issue with fidelity or inappropriate communications with other women or inappropriate relationships with other women, doesn't really know the boundaries of his marriage. This man is going to get paid to take off his clothes in front of women, in front of a whole bunch of drunk, desperate women. Like, what? This is a good idea, Drew? So anyway, I thought that was crazy. Everybody else was in disbelief that he was like, what does Ralph do that allows him to take time off to go audition to be in a Vegas strip show review or whatever you want to call it? Like, I'm not understanding here. So Drew and Moneta, they're on the balcony, and Moneta asks Drew, do you know what's on the other side or the south side of Portugal? And Dum Drew says, yeah, Spain. Okay. And so Moneta's like, no, on the south of Portugal is actually Africa. And where they're standing on the balcony, I guess it's the ocean. And she tells Drew, you can actually see Africa from here. So, Moneta explains how she's been to Africa. She even started an orphanage in Africa, and we see pictures of that. And then Moneta asks Drew, have you ever been to Africa? And Drew says, no, I've never been, but I have been to South Africa. Ooh. So they start talking about Sheree, and Drew basically expresses how pressed she was about Sheree bringing up the whole lawsuit and how she didn't understand why Sheree wanted to, to basically like shade her or put her in a bad light by bringing up this lawsuit when she thought that her and Sheree were good. So all the women, they've broken up in they're all like talking with their little friends or whatever in different areas of the hotel. And they're all talking about how hypocritical Kenya is because of the whole situation where, she acted like she didn't care that Marlo had gone out on one date with her boyfriend, and they don't understand why Kenya didn't make it a big deal about this dude going into Marlo's DMs, but she was making a big deal about Mart. I don't care because, like I said, it's all fake. So later on, they're having dinner. So Courtney wanted to address her issue with Kenya because I guess she felt some kind of way when Kenya told her, keep your paws off me. I don't remember exactly what was said because it was a very boring conversation because Courtney is a very boring person. So I don't know if they resolved it or not, really don't care. Moving on from there, Drew addresses Sheree about how Sheree had brought up the lawsuit. Now, Drew didn't say, why did you bring up that lawsuit at my damn brunch in my damn house? Trying to shade me and disrespect me in my own house. She didn't put it like that. Instead, she says, well, I found out that you're talking about my lawsuit behind my back. I hate it when these reality TV women get mad at other cast members for talking behind their backs when that's all they do is talk about each other behind their backs. The whole entire confessional scenes is you talking about somebody behind their back. Like, I don't understand why that's a big deal when that's all y'all do. But anyways, that's the point that she wanted to make. So Sheree tried to interject as Drew was talking because Drew will not shut up. If you don't check her and stop her and interrupt her and jump in, Drew's going to go on for about 3 hours nonstop. So Sheree tries to interject and said, you know what? You're the one that brought the heat first. So as she's trying to interject, Drew kept on talking. So because she kept on talking, Sheree got louder. And then Drew was like, why are you so loud? We're in a really classy restaurant. Why are you so loud? The way she talked to Sheree is the way that her and Ralph talk to each other. And it's not cute. It's not cute at all. You're the one acting up. You're the one, talking a whole bunch of junk. But someone else is trying to make their point because you're not shutting up and you're not letting them talk. And because they're trying to be heard, they're the crazy one for talking loud in a classy restaurant when you want to bring up this mess in a classy restaurant. So Sheree tells her that, Drew, you're the one that started this issue between me and you because you were talking behind my back about the fact that I took back the gifts that I gave y'all, my She by Sheree products. And you talked about it on your damn radio station. You didn't bring that up to me. You didn't come to me with that. You were talking about it on a radio station or a podcast or whatever. And so Drew was like, but that's then. I'm talking about now. We already dealt with that. I'm talking about what's going on right now. And Sheree was like, that does lead into what's happening now. That's the reason why I did what I did, because of what you did. And so then Drew was like, oh, so you're one of those. You're trying to be petty. It's a tick for tat for you. You were just trying to be petty. You were still mad at me about what I said, and you just wanted to bring something up to embarrass me. So Drew was like, we've already had the confiscation conversation. We already had that confiscation conversation. And she goes, how can you bring us on this trip and talk about how this trip is about healing when you can't even heal yourself from what I said about you? And Kenya and Candy both vouched for Drew about Sheree taking back her items. The only person that she did not take the items back from was Marlo, because that's her girl. But everybody else, they had to give that stuff back. So Drew just wanted Sheree to acknowledge that by her bringing up that lawsuit, or not by her bringing up the lawsuit, by her talking behind her back, it really hurt her feelings, and she just wanted Sheree to acknowledge that and apologize. And Sheree wasn't going to apologize about a damn thing. She didn't think she did anything wrong. So Drew left the table crying. I'm like, what? Girl, you're crying about this? You are involved in a lawsuit, and it is all over the internet. But because Sheree brings it up, that brings you to tears. That didn't make any sense to me, because you would think that she, like, it's a fact. It's not like Sheree's lying about it. I could understand if you're upset because she was spreading lies that you don't pay your bills or you don't pay your workers and, they're suing you. I could understand if she was lying about it. But it's a fact. You are being sued. Whether or not you owe the money is going to be determined by the judge. But you are being sued by a chef that claims you didn't pay them. That's a fact. So when she got up and I was like, some of these women are so quick to start crying. Like, why are you even on this show if you can't handle it? Why are you crying about Sheree shedding light on a lawsuit that is being blasted all over the internet? So the fact that this chef went to the blogs and spread your business out there, that doesn't bother you. But Sheree bringing it up and asking you about it, like the way you brought up and asked Candy about the shooting at her restaurant, that makes you want to cry. But you saw nothing wrong with asking Candy about, people getting shot at her restaurant. Y'all, I really want to like Drew, because she can be witty, she can be funny, and she's a really cute girl. But I just don't understand her personality. I just don't get her personality. I'm not understanding how she lives her life. Like, I didn't get it at all. You brought up the whole shooting thing with Candy out of nowhere, but then Sheree can't bring up the lawsuit against you. But anyway, the funny part was when they asked her, well, how much is the chef suing you for? She goes, $1,000. Everybody at the table was like, $1,000? You'd rather go to court and, be publicly humiliated over $1,000? Just give that girl her $1,000 and go about your damn business. You live in this big old mansion. Pay this woman that $1,000, whether you owe it to her or you don't owe it to her. Give her that $1,000. So come on now. It means more to her than it would ever mean to you, right? Anyways, so she walks off crying, and I guess Sheree was distracted by something else. She didn't even notice that Drew left the table. And so Marlo tells her, hey, she's crying. She just walked away and she's crying. And Sheree did have the wherewithal to get up and go check on her. Even though Marlo told her, go check on her. You're the host of this damn party. Go check on your guest. She did get up and she did go check on her. So we'll see how that goes. I'm like, girl, I know you are not crying about Sheree stating a fact. You don't like Sheree. That's not your best friend. Y'all's personalities don't get along. I get it. But she brought up a fact. Anyways, you should have checked her for trying to embarrass you in your own house. But Drew, I don't know what's going on with how your brain functions. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it on your way out. Please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.